Greetings, folks. Joseph Kursky here, geographer. You love Colorado, so do I. Let's take a Colorado geography town quiz together. I'll explain at the end how I set this up so you can do the same kind of thing on a different topic. But for right now, let's focus on 3 different Colorado towns, and I'm going to give you 2 choices per question. 2 choices per question. They're going to be challenging, so let's get started. Is this first one, City A, is this Fort Collins or Sterling? I'm seeing a diagonal southwest to northeast trend to the railroad line and also this highway out to the southeast. I'm seeing the downtown sort of stretched along that parallel and perpendicular to that railroad. I'm seeing some center pivot irrigation, especially out to the east of town, but also more importantly to the west of town, and a big dry area directly to the east of town. Is that Fort Collins or Sterling? Interesting. What about City B? I'm giving you a challenge here because, as you can see, these pairs are near each other, at least in the same part of the state. I'm not giving you Julesburg versus Cortez or Rangeley versus Springfield. In other words, I'm not giving you corner towns far apart from each other, but some that are plausible. Each one is plausible. Is this Gunnison or Delta? Let's zoom in a little bit. We can see the arrangement of downtown. It looks like north-south orientation to downtown. I've got a couple rivers in here, got some irrigation. I also have some non-irrigated lands out here to the southwest and also to the north of Delta or Gunnison. Interesting, interesting. Gunnison or Delta? Let's zoom in on that one more time so you can get a sense of, is that Gunnison or Delta? And then let's go to City C. Is this Trinidad or Walsenburg? Trinidad or Walsenburg? I'm seeing some northwest to southeast major highway there. I'm also seeing in a 90-degree angle from that a railroad and also a river flowing either from the northeast to the southwest or from the southwest to the northeast. We don't know exactly which direction is flowing from and to at this point, but you can see this town arrangement here, either Trinidad or Walsenburg. All right, how did you do on the quiz? Let's review the answers. Fort Collins or Sterling? This is Sterling. Sterling, Colorado. You've got the South Platte coming in here from the south-southwest to the north-northeast with some center pivot irrigation, especially out to the west of town, irrigated from the South Platte. You've got I-76 running the northeast to southwest direction. And you've also got the downtown arranged in parallel and perpendicular blocks to the railroad with north-south-east-west orientation of the rest of the city. That is Sterling, Colorado. Fort Collins is out to the west here, as probably many of you know. Here's Fort Collins. It's quite a bit larger, and of course you've got the mountains out to the west of Fort Collins. And you also have the parallel and perpendicular to the railroad, but in the case of Fort Collins, the railroad, as many of you know, is very close to College Avenue. North-south largely is where that railroad runs, right through town. And Fort Collins is larger than Sterling, so you've got more streets there. I'm not giving you the street base map. I could have, but that would have made it a little bit easier when you've got highway numbers and street names. So I'm giving you the satellite image. That's Fort Collins right there. But the answer to question number 1 is that's actually Sterling. Let's go to City B. Was that Gunnison or Delta? This is actually Delta. Delta, Colorado, western slope. You've got the Grand Mesa out to the north, as you can see here. You've got the Uncompahgre Plateau to the southwest, and the Utah-Colorado border out to the west there, which is a slight clue that I gave you, and the irrigated lands between Delta and Montrose with Olathe right in the middle there. Beautiful, wonderful terrain there, irrigated lands, orchard land, growing corn, and other things. Gunnison is actually out here. This is Gunnison. You've got an east-west orientation to the large part of the main street in Gunnison. And with Delta, you have this north-south main street. Wonderful. Okay, so City B was Delta. City C, did you get that one correct? That's actually also choice number 2, and that's Walsenburg. Walsenburg is right here It is sitting on the high Great Plains, the mountains off to the west, Spanish Peaks, etc. Trinidad is down here to the south of Walsenburg, and it's where I-25 leaves the boundary between the high Great Plains and the Rocky Mountain Front Range and goes into this pass, which ends up at Raton Pass, and it ends up at Raton, New Mexico, just off to the south of this east-west Colorado-New Mexico border. So Trinidad is a little bit more mountainous because it's actually in the area where you're just getting into the mountains going up to Raton Pass or down from Raton Pass, depending on your direction of travel. So that's Trinidad. But the answer to question C was Walsenburg. That is Walsenburg. Fascinating. So now I encourage you to do the following. Set up a quiz if you're a teacher and you want to help your students foster spatial thinking, critical thinking skills, active learning. And it doesn't have to be cities. You could set this up for hazards or habitat or health or energy or any other biomes, ecoregions, you name it. The topics are endless that you can explore with these tools. This is inside ArcGIS Online. I've set up a series of 3 bookmarks here on the left side. 3 bookmarks, City A, B, and C. You can do something similar to, again, have your students focus in on different parts of the world. It could be 3 different biomes. It could be 3 different natural hazards. It could be, again, use your imagination. You know what topics you're teaching, and these tools could be very powerful and easy to implement. This took me a few minutes to set up, is all. And now it's online, so it's available to me and to you if I share it with you. So a town quiz. Now, if you're not an educator, you can still use this for family, friends, and for your own learning about, hey, okay, I did pretty well on my Colorado town quiz, and I've got other quizzes and that sort of thing online, so feel free to explore those as well. Thanks for being with me and for thinking spatially about Colorado towns. And by extension, how did those towns come to be? Are they along railroad lines? Are they along rivers? What's the future population potential for each one of these towns? Are they growing? Are they shrinking? So further investigation to really highlight the individual nature of these towns and how different they actually are, even though they're all in the wonderful state of Colorado. Thanks for being with me. Keep on being spatial.